Welcome to Text Messages The Resurrection, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Rick Text, the parasite of Text Messages The Resurrection, the sole survivor, the last man available, and happy to be here. Happy that you've joined us. We thank you. Without you, we are essentially nothing. You are the host, we are the parasite. As you can see from the green screen, we got a pretty serious topic today. What this shows, a couple organs and the hormones they send out to the body. It's called the endocrine system. So it's a very important thing as far as the human body is concerned. You may have heard of endocrine disruptors before. So we made reference to that a lot, and I figured that maybe it's a good idea to actually get into a little bit of detail about it. At least just to give you an idea of what we talk about when we say endocrine disruptors. So what they essentially are is chemicals that mimic natural hormones. So for an example, growth hormone is one endocrine disruptor. A lot of people take it because it has positive effects for them, for their objectives. You know, it just stimulates your body to grow more muscle cells in certain parts or just all of them. And for a lot of people, they get that bloating effect. If you ever seen bodybuilders, some of them got this, it looks like they're pregnant. That's usually because of an overusage of human growth hormone. And other endocrine disruptors can block receptors. So then your body has an under response. Like say, for example, if you block the testosterone or the growth hormone, then your muscles would start to atrophy, and then you get muscular dystrophy, and then you have no muscles at all, and you couldn't support any of your skeletal systems or your organs or nothing. So you just turn into a blob, which is absolutely not anything you'd want to do. It's important to maintain a good balance, ladies and gentlemen. So some of the endocrine system consists of the development of the brain and nervous system. The hypothalamus is actually what connects, you know, all these organs with the actual brain and the nervous system, the intelligence of the body. So it controls the growth and function of the reproductive system, function of metabolism, and blood sugar levels. The major components are the ovaries, testes, pituitary gland, which is in your head. It's a little gland like right behind your skull here. You may have heard of some people that get a tumor on their pituitary gland and then they turn into 7.5 feet tall giants. So, I mean, that happens occasionally. Apparently it happened to somebody that I knew, it happened to them to some capacity, then they just grew like really big hands and feet. Because it happened later on in life. So, I mean, they didn't turn into Andre the Giant or nothing. But some of the other major components are thyroid, adrenal, pineal, the thymus, the hypothalamus, the parathyroid, and the pancreas. The pancreas, you probably heard that a lot as far as type 2 and type 1 diabetes because it secretes the insulin. And if you're not able to secrete insulin, or if your body doesn't take it up right, if your body doesn't take the insulin up properly or uptake it properly, it's usually type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes. It doesn't create pancreas. So then people have to inject their own insulin at certain times after they eat meals, or just whenever their blood sugar gets too high or whatever the case may be. The hypothalamus links the endocrine and the nervous system. Pituitary receives the signals from the hypothalamus. So, you know, that's usually what regulates growth of all your cells. And the thyroid regulates your metabolism. The thyroid is in your neck. That also regulates temperatures too. So if you get cold hands all the time when you don't think you should be getting cold hands, it may mean a thyroid condition. And your thyroid needs a lot of iodine. Because if you eat fluoride and the bromide and the chloride, those will attach to your thyroid receptors. But if you get the iodine, especially a clean sourced iodine that's not bonded to a bunch of junk, that'll kick off those garbage elements, and then your thyroid will be able to function healthy again. Then there's the adrenal gland, which regulates stress, blood pressure, glucose, salt, and water in your body. I mean, these are all pretty important. It's very, just about everything in the body works symbiotically with each other. So I mean, to focus on the health of one particular organ over another is rather fallacious, because they're all just interconnected so intricately and meticulously. Which is why, you know, we can sit here and say eating a certain particular type of food or drinking a certain type of water will be healthy for this joint or that organ, or this organ, or that muscle or this muscle, or your eyes, or whatever the case may be. But the reality is, every single part of your body has to be working on 8 cylinders if you want to be great again. So, I mean, when they say carrots are good for eyesight, they're probably good for other things too. They're just, we know unequivocally for a fact that they're good for eyesight. So if they're good for something, they must be good for a lot of other things that we're just not aware of. That's why when you eat foods that you know are bad for certain things, like endocrine disrupting chemicals, then they're probably bad for several other things that we are not yet aware of. And in fact, the 12 chemicals that are endocrine disruptors are bisphenol A, which is in the plastics, atrazine, which causes the frogs to go gay, dioxin, phthalates, perchlorate, fire retardants. Fire retardants are really big in mattresses because they made up these standards that mattresses had to be fire resistant. So they just dump a bunch of weird VOC chemicals on them. And then when you sleep on them for 8 hours a day, they off gas. So essentially you're exposed to all those chemicals and breathing them in. My recommendation would be mygreenmattress.com. They have organic mattresses there for a pretty reasonable price. And they do not sponsor the show. It's just what will help make you great again. Some of the other components are lead, which has been banned a long time ago. It used to be found in paint, and they got rid of it there. Arsenic, mercury. Mercury, I don't know if it's still available in tooth amalgam fillings. It may be, but that's about the only thing that mercury is still used for. Apparently, I'm not sure, 100% sure about this, but it may be used as a preservative in vaccines. But the vaccines are usually patented, so the materials in them are protected. There is a naturalnews.com. They run a science lab which has some big fancy spectrometer, so they can actually take some of the vaccines and evaluate what's inside of them. And it'd probably be a good idea to do some digging on their website and see what exactly the chemicals they found in some of these vaccines. But I don't remember mercury is one of them, but it was in some of the vaccines from before. Some of the other chemicals: perfluorinated, perfluoriented, organophosphate pesticides, and then the glycolethers. Now, some of this stuff is found in a lot of cleaning agents, cleaning products. Yeah, dishwasher soap, regular soap, body soap. Shampoo is probably one of the biggest contributors to endocrine disrupting chemicals that you can put on your body as that parade around as washing your body. Clothes washing agents are definitely one of them. So I mean, it's just a good idea to try to get as clean sourced products in that regard as you possibly can. Even something as simple as hand soap. I mean, if you look at the label at the store, it has just a litany, rap sheet of garbage products in them. We don't really know what they do. Titanium dioxide, that just makes it look bright white, but essentially it's a very toxic poison, and it's not something that you should be putting on your body, especially not eating. Oreos have titanium dioxide too, so along with a whole bunch of other junk. Oreos are one of those things where it's just pure synthetic garbage that, you know, you figured, hey, if 2 or 3 garbage products are okay, why not just put a deluge of chemical products inside of them? So, a couple other, few of the other vital components inside the endocrine disruptor, or the endocrine system, are the gonads, which regulate growth. They consist of the androgen, estrogen, and progestin, and the pancreas, which is, you know, the glucagon and insulin, which regulates your glucose and blood sugar level. Some of the things you can do to avoid endocrine disrupting chemicals is to avoid plastics, especially cooking in plastics, because that'll excite the molecules and they'll start leaching into the food. Packaged food is one of them. Even tin cans have some degree of endocrine disrupting properties. I mean, yeah, ideally we can't all just eat food straight out of the ground or butcher our own animals, so it's just trying to minimize casualties in that regard. And that commercial cleaner is definitely one of them. Cast iron soap is apparently a good source of cleaning agents, so it will be something to look into. Yeah, it probably costs a little bit more, but you kind of get what you pay for. Birth control is definitely a huge contributor to many types of cancers. And beauty products. If they say fragrant, read the labels on the beauty products. Now, I obviously don't use any beauty products and probably never will, but it's important to read the labels on them, because if they say fragrance or perfume, they could potentially be 3,000 different types of chemicals. There's even a study the other day about nail polish. Somebody put nail polish on, and then 10 hours later they test their blood, and then they're able to see some type of chemical that was in the nail polish in their blood. So it's pretty scary stuff, especially with nanotechnology, when these chemical elements get even smaller and smaller that they're using in beauty products. So one of the ways that you can help out your body get rid of these endocrine disruptive chemicals is eating more fiber, or a good amount of fiber. If you're already eating a lot of fiber, then you don't need to eat any more. And no sugar, because lack of fiber and extra sugar attacks the colon and liver. So then they just recirculate the hormones, because your colon and liver are essentially, well, especially your liver and your kidneys to some degree, they're the ones that filter out all this garbage. And then your white blood cells too, and even your red blood cells, they'll have to phagocytose a lot of it and get it out of your system. So, I mean, you don't want to get your colon dirty. And yeah, if you can go your whole life without a colonoscopy, then you're probably doing something right. So try to avoid a lot of pesticides and herbicides, and then pasture-raised animals ideal, and specifically avoiding soy. Soy has some of the highest magnitude of endocrine, or of GMOs in it, along with corn and wheat and pretty much any commercialized product. Which is why it's always important to have a good balanced diet that's local, pasture raised, organic, preferably out of your own backyard if you can. And if you know the farmer, that's probably even better. So I mean, anytime we talk about health related matters, it always comes back to that. Your source of food, your source of water, your environment, how you exercise, your social life, all those things play a factor. Just like the human body, one of them cannot be neglected. Every man must be standing. Together they stand, united they fall, or however that goes. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're glad you could join us. Hopefully we can tackle some more of these serious topics, because I think they'll certainly help you, and they're definitely helping me illuminate some factors of how the body system works, and physical health, spiritual health, mental health, all that good fun stuff. So thank you very much for joining. Without you, we're absolutely nothing. We appreciate it, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your weekend.